And welcome back to another episode of Suplex Biddies. Episode 2 brought to you by Couch Guys Sports. Make sure you go check everything out that's happening on Couch Guys Sports. Trust
the website.
It's a website. There's plenty of articles on the internet. Plenty of podcasts. Mm-hmm. Trust it's very good.
You can find
we have a lot to talk about this week, but really quick, let me introduce our panel. We have the Top Rope Munchkin, the resident DJ of Boston, Diego Galvez. We have Biddy Boy,
the Biddy Boy,
Andrew, the wrestling aficionado Hunterman, and then we have myself, the Splution Suplex Machine, Chris Jones, taking the realm today. So real quick, episode 2, we got a bunch to talk about in this week's of wrestling. We're going to start with AEW because they have the pay-per-view this weekend. So real quick, I'm going to let Hunman take the realms here. Let's talk about the highlights from AEW this past week. I know there wasn't a bunch because it was their going home show, but I think we can both say that there were some quality in this show.
I know they did a very good job, as they have for what feels like ever. You know, they'll have a somewhat of a dud of a show, but it's still enjoyable to watch. I mean, the biggest thing going in this week was going to be the American Nightmare Cody and Red Velvet versus Shaquille O'Neal and Jade Cargill. So I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was pretty freaking good. I mean, as far as celebrity matches go, you know, and they opened with it, which got a bunch of viewers in. It was really smart. One thing that I did like about that match the most, so obviously Cody and Shaq did their spots, they did their stuff, but they really left it to the girls to, you know, show what they were made of, because that was really both of their first exposure on national TV. Cargill's a newer one. She's been around. Velvet has been on like AEW Dark, which is their YouTube series. And they both did great. I mean, you almost have to grade it on two separate things. Like the men's, it was great. I'd give it like a B+. The women's, I'd even give it an A. I mean, Cargill looked like a beast, except some of the things were a little sloppy, but that happens. You're on TV, and then Shaq took a nasty table bump, which was funny, and also it's all over the internet.
Shaq taking the table bump, and literally everybody's jaw dropped, and then all of a sudden you can just see the sigh of relief when you have Cody Rhodes over his body, and Shaq just taps him. He goes, "I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good."
Like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen some of the Kevin Hart sketches where he makes fun of Shaq.
Oh, when Shaq falls over.
Yep. Wait, Shaq falls over. Like, just watch episode 2 of Kevin Hart making fun of Shaq because he landed on the table.
But hey, I didn't
even finish saying, but Cargill ends up getting the win over Velvet's. So technically, Shaq and Cargill win, and Velvet takes the pin. But one thing that I saw that people were talking about, like a lot of people tuned in specifically for that match.
Yeah.
And one thing that AEW does that WWE really, really should think about is they keep track of their win-loss records. Yes. So these casual fans, I saw so many different posts about people that were watching with like their parents or just friends that don't necessarily tune in all the time. They see Red Velvet come out, say she's 5-0, and they're like, "Oh, she must be a big deal." So it's like right then and there, you know, this person's pretty good. Yep. And, you know, it's just simple stuff like that made it feel bigger, even for the casual viewer that was just tuning in for that specific thing. Yeah. So I couldn't tip my hat more to them. Yeah.
I have to agree with that, because if you look at like across like all like competitions, like UFC keeps a record, some other boxing leagues keep a record, AEW keeps a record. So like, why wouldn't you do it as WWE?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, UFC, you see someone that's 5-0 that's on a main card, you're like, oh, this person must be really freaking talented.
Yep.
So speaking of UFC, the big guy 20-0 is fighting tonight. So you're like, this is gonna be a good match, right?
Exactly, 20-0.
If you don't know anything about
for AEW, I'd consider that the highlight myself. It only went I think like 20 minutes or so, but it was very entertaining, and they did a very good job.
I think it went a half hour. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It might, yeah, dude.
I think it went a half hour
with the entrances and everything. And Cody also promised Shaq he was going to body slam them on TNT, and he did. So Shaq was happy to take a scoop slam and a table bump, and he hit a nice power bomb. Did the little Brody Lee tribute, which was nice. And I don't know. To me, that was just my favorite part. That was just the tipping of the iceberg, and the rest of the card, pretty good. Hyping up their pay-per-view this weekend. One thing that we should touch on is Telly Blanchard, who I think it might have been like 27 or 37 years since he was on TV in like a wrestling match. Correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the original Four Horsemen.
I believe you're right.
Yeah. I should know that by now as an aficionado, but he was teaming up with FTR to take on Jurassic Express. I mean, the dude's old, but he didn't look out of place by any means, and he meant business. And they had everyone just looked. I don't know about you guys. I just thought everybody looked great.
Yeah.
Did you guys happen to? Do you have anything out of that match that like stuck out to you?
I think if we're talking about losers from the show, I think Jurassic Express would be the biggest loser from that, only because of the fact that they basically had they were facing the 67-year-old man, and literally he got the pinfall on Luchasaurus.
Don't forget about the Masked Man.
Agreed. The Masked Man definitely helped, but personally, it just, if you're looking back at it, you don't look at the matches in general. You look at Telly Blanchard pin Luchasaurus. That's what it looks like in my eyes there.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I think that was the big the big loss of the show.
Yeah, I would take that. I mean, who we had the Masked Man come in and kind of mess everything up, which allowed Luchasaurus to get hit with that. I think it was a spike pile driver, if I remember.
Yeah, their spiked pile driver.
Yeah, their new finisher. And he pinned him. And then it later was revealed to be Sean Spears, who hadn't been around in a while. And they kept hinting at
dropping the floor.
Yeah, they keep hinting at I don't know who the fourth is going to be, but they got Spears, FTR, and then might be Cody. I know they were hinting at it if Arn's out there, but that could be your new generation of the Four Horsemen. So it's good to see Spears back. He's very good, very underrated. The perfect 10 guy from WWE. If no one's remembering off the top of their head, Hayden Royce, pretty good. Guy's doing something right.
I'm trying to think of who else it could be now, because now I'm sitting here, I'm like, who?
I'm gonna say Cody, just because after he doesn't really have much of a direction after this Shaq match. This is what they've been hyping up for the last couple months.
But he also has the Nightmare family, though. So is he just going to turn his back on the Nightmare family?
There you go. Who knows? There you go. Another intriguing storyline leading into our next thing, where good old Paul White with his shirt I don't have one, obviously, but it says "No more BS," which is no more bullshit or Big Show.
No more Big Show. Oh,
so it's like, ooh, look at this marketing. And
dude, they're just so good at marketing. They really are.
I feel like they just do so well with stuff. And he came out and hyped up Revolution. It was his first time on TV, I think, since his signing. Yeah. And they're hyping up. They said a Hall of Fame worthy wrestler, like just a well-renowned wrestler, is going to show up on Revolution, sign a contract for multiple years, and be a part of AEW for the future. And apparently only Tony Khan, the promoter, and Big Show, Paul White, are the ones that know. So there you go. There's been running speculation on the internet of who it's going to be. Ranges from Brock Lesnar to CM Punk to freaking who's kind of a dumb one that people were saying, RVD. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Jones.
RVD.
But
it's fine, dude. He's washed. I've come to terms. He's washed.
But Tony Khan actually doubled down on with an interview. I think it might have been, I forget who it was, but I read it on Bleacher Report. But he just said, I know with a promise like this, I have to deliver. So it's gonna be it's a big star in the industry. So I'm tuning in for one of that specifically. And he said it's not the same one that's in their ladder match that we'll get to.
Exactly. So there's two surprises that we're gonna see.
Yeah, so two very big surprises.
I even read somewhere that it could even be Batista. I'm like,
no, Batista.
That makes no sense.
Batista on Twitter declined that it was him, which makes me think it might be him.
Yeah, which I mean, anyone that says no, you're like, oh, it's definitely him. And Batista actually also said, we got to come up with a new term for retired in professional wrestling, because that's no longer like a thing.
Yeah,
that's no longer a thing. Yeah.
And I think another highlight, Jones, I think you and I were talking about it earlier. I actually did enjoy Rose versus I think it's Ryo Mizunami.
Yes.
I hope I'm saying that right. She was the winner of the Japan bracket for the women's tournament, and ended up pulling off the victory against Naya, who had a great match with Britt Baker last week.
Nyla. Not Naya, the fat piece of WWE. Yep.
My hole.
My hole.
But there, it wasn't like, I wouldn't say it was as good as the Britt Baker match last week, but it was nice to see Rio come out with that win. I mean, it's her and Shida, I assume, have some history somewhere, and have probably competed many times. And it's more exposure for what seems to be a leading continuation of their partnership with Japanese wrestling. So again, any company that's willing to work with others and just get everybody involved, dude, I wish I could say more, but I'm going to yield my time to you.
I agreed. One thing about the AEW about the surprise, people have been speculating on Twitter earlier because Kurt Angle put out a thing. People forget Kurt Angle was a part of the Hall of Fame in 2017.
Yep.
They didn't say he was a Hall of Famer. They said he has had a Hall of Fame type career. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet, so it can't be Kurt Angle either.
Yeah, exactly. You would think that it wouldn't be because it's Hall of Fame worthy. So you think of someone that's not in it yet, which again leads everyone to say Brock and Punk, which would be. I'm trying not to get my hype too high, but
for me, everybody's going like WWE. What about guys on like the independents that are like big time, like guys like Marty Scurll, guys like Okada, guys like Kenta? Like what if those are the big?
Did you just say Okada was on the independents?
No, I meant like you know what I meant.
Come on, man. Disrespect.
You know what I meant.
The Rainmaker,
dude. He's not fucking well known in the States. You'd be surprised at how many people don't know who Okada is in the States.
I know. He will be here at some point. He was in TNA for a while and they botched the hell out of him.
Don't know how they did that. So still surprising
now. I think there's just a lot of options. I mean, we might as well just throw a prediction out right now for you guys. Who you think?
Yeah. So I think for me in the ladder match, I think we're gonna get what's his name? I'm drawing I think it's gonna be Chris Bay from TNA.
Chris Bay, okay.
Just
has he recently departed from them?
He was part of the team with MSK.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure his contract is up.
Mm-hmm.
So that wouldn't, especially in like a mid-card ladder match, it wouldn't surprise me if he's jumping in there.
Has he had a long enough career to be considered Hall of Fame worthy?
But that's so. See, this is why they're saying there's two surprises. There's one in the ladder match.
Okay,
I'm talking about the ladder match. So the ladder match, I'm saying Chris Bay.
I think that'd be a great one. Yeah,
I think that is who potentially could go there. The Hall of Fame worthy. I think they're gonna go for whatever reason. Deep down, I think they pulled Okada, and don't ask me why. I'm getting my hopes up. But if Okada is part of the main event and Kenny Omega's standing the title up and they set up for their next pay-per-view, Omega versus Okada, the amount of money that they're going to make on that match is going to be unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
So that is my prediction right now. So Chris Bay and Okada will debut
for the ladder
in
match?
AEW.
I genuinely don't know who's going to be in the ladder match. I know I've read that Christian has apparently become a free agent. And he's been recently cleared. I don't know if a ladder match would be the best move, but if WWE talks have fallen through and they're not going to do anything with him, he could be a great ladder match. And if he shows up and then you also have another surprise, that's a pretty good get. For the ladder match, I'm going to go with you, Jones. Chris Bay sounds pretty good.
Don't forget because of the fact that they have their deal with Impact too, he can easily just debut.
Right. As for the Hall of Famer worthy career, my real pick. I just had it. Well, my hope would be like CM Punk, but my real pick is going to have to be something I have to think about for a second because I just blanked. Diego, you go.
I think for the ladder match, I also go with Chris Bay. I just don't see. I don't know. I don't see myself picking someone else. I actually, for the big surprise, I'm gonna go with CM Punk, whether it's one way or another. I've been dying to see CM Punk back to the spotlight for ages now, like literally for the past, I can't even say, probably like maybe 7 years or so. I've been just dying to see him in the spotlight. And it's not WWE. Him and Vince McMahon just do not have a great relationship. What better way than to come to this?
Him and Triple H don't have a good relationship.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have a good relationship with anybody in the Authority. So
yeah, this is true.
Oh,
I'm blanking on mine. I'll have to come back to it if I think of it. But I'll stick
wait
with
a minute. Hunterman.
What?
Would it be so AEW if for however reason, all of a sudden you just see some guy that you can't see come out and attack Kenny Omega, and we get John Cena of all people?
That would be wild.
Shawn Michaels.
Dude, imagine getting John Cena as the big Hall of Fame worthy career.
I just had
16-time world
such
champion.
a good prediction.
got-
I can't believe I'm blanking on it.
He comes out
Oh,
right in the
dude,
bull
all right.
from Experian.
I got it. Before I forget it, my actual prediction, my hope is Punk. My actual prediction is Jay White from New Japan, because I know he's been a free agent for a while, and he's already Hall of Fame worthy. He's been a champion, and he's only like 25, 26. So that's my actual. I can't believe
hope. I didn't think of that either. Wow.
I mean, I had it, then I forgot it, and I thought of it again. So
Jay White, what a fucking name!
What a name!
If they pull him, what if they pull, dude? It's just like thinking of who it could be. It just makes me want to pay $170,000.
Makes you feel like a kid again because you actually don't know.
Yes,
which is
nice. We all know.
It's just like the Royal Rumble.
Well, yeah, but we all know that realistically speaking, since this person left in really bad terms out of WWE, it's gonna end up being Brock Lesnar.
Dude, any of those three, whatever, man. It'll be great, and I'm excited.
What about Will Ospreay? I'm just throwing out names now. We need to go to the
all right, let's get to Revolution.
Let's get to Revolution. Let's transition. Come on. I'm going. All right, Revolution.
We could speculate forever. Yeah.
All right, so Revolution is Sunday, March 7th. It's the stack card. We'll start with the buy-in match. It's Rio and Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker and Rebel. I'm gonna just give us your thoughts on this real quick.
I'm gonna go Rosa and Rio. Rio's been gone for so long. She was their top women's wrestler before the pandemic. It's good to see her back. It's a bit polarizing that they're putting them together I'm pretty sure they just faced each other in the tournament, didn't they?
I believe so.
So, I mean, I'm going to go with them, even though I still think Baker needs some type of push, but I like to see Rio Thunder Rosa maybe pull it off and maybe get another feud to do what they're doing. And I mean, the buy-in's the buy-in. Last time they did it, it was the Baker's. It was like a weird in her office match with somebody. Yeah. So I mean, it worked. I'm gonna go Rio Rosa. I'm assuming. I think you guys would probably say the same thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't see why. I don't think Britt takes the pin here. I think they pin Rebel, obviously, because I don't think any of the other three can really afford a pinfall right now. So I'm going Rio and Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm actually gonna go Britt Baker and Rebel. Personally,
I love it.
Personally, I just feel like out of all the matches that there are in this main event, I feel like this is the one that feels like a throwaway. In my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Britt Baker Rebel win.
So one thing too about Rio is when she was on AEW all the time, she was very popular in our demographic.
Yeah.
And especially dudes our age. So putting her on there as the pre-show, people might be like, "Oh, well, I like her. Let's get the pay-per-view." Mm-hmm. So they're marketing it well, and I'm sure it'll be a good little sprint. Rose is great. The one thing that I think we should go to next. I don't know necessarily the order they're going to do everything, but the casino tag battle royal.
That's what I had next down now.
Yeah.
There's so many teams. They added more.
Yeah, there's 15 in total, I believe.
Yeah, 15 teams overall.
I genuinely don't know who to pick because it could literally be. I'll say not the hybrid. What is their name? Caster and no, he's in the ladder match.
Yeah.
You go first. I got to think.
Me personally, thinking about who it is and who's in there. Because you got three different Dark Order teams that you could pick from.
Right.
So it's Bear County, which is Bear Boulder and Bear Bronson.
Mm-hmm.
The Dark Order, Reynolds and Silver. The Dark Order, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. Santana and Ortiz, which wouldn't be a bad one. Butcher and the Blade, Private Party. Death Triangle, which is Pac and Phoenix. The Seidel Brothers, which is Matt and Mike Seidel. The Dark Order, which is 5 and 10. Gun Club, which is Austin and Colton Gunn. The Pretty Pitcher, which is Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi. SCU's in it. The Natural Nightmares are in it. Varsity Blondes and Jurassic Express of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Personally, for me, I think it's going to be Pac and Ray Phoenix that are going to win.
Yes, I didn't realize they were in the match. I'm going to go with them too. Especially
because they also were on Dynamite this week, and they literally dominated some random team.
Yeah, they did a squash.
So
I think also came out at the end of the night when the main event finished up, and they did the big fight of all the teams and everything. I mean, they're Death Triangle, and Penta's in the ladder match, so it's like it'd be nice to see them come out on top with it. Diego, whenever you're done yawning.
Sorry, no, I actually as soon as Chris said it, I was like, damn it, because that's been like my immediate pick right from the get-go after the 15 teams were announced. I think the Death Triangle just have what it takes to deliver a good product here.
And if you want to go into the tag match that has implications of said Battle Royal, Jones, we can go from there.
You read my mind. You read my mind. I literally have
this big bump on my head. I got telekinetic powers now.
I have it written down right here. So obviously the AEW tag team title match, the winner of the Casino Tag Team Royale will get the next tag title shot. But right now the tag title match for Revolution, it's the Young Bucks versus Jericho and MJF of the Inner Circle. I'm gonna go quickly. I think this is a great way to get the title off the Bucks. Jericho is a former 7-time World Tag Team Champion, just around. We've seen it, with guys like Paul White and company. I think this would be big for MJF to get his feet wet, especially with the title. You didn't give him the TNT title. You didn't give him the world title. The tag titles are a good way for him to start coming up in the rankings more.
Build that resume.
I think Jericho and MJF beat the Bucks this weekend.
Cool. I'm gonna say the Bucks retain with shenanigans from Sammy Guevara against MJF because he's been out for a little while. I know there was some issues with him and TNA with their partnership.
Yeah,
but he's been out for a while. If they think he's got his act together, and I think the reports were so back and forth with the whole thing. But what a better spot to ignite that feud than that tag team match, and then you can get him and MJF going at it. So I'll take the Bucks, and then them fighting Death Triangle would be absolutely phenomenal. Or two thirds of Death Triangle.
I'm just gonna go with the. I'm personally, I think the Inner Circle wins the title. I think, to your point, it would be great to see the rivalry between Sammy Guevara and MJF revive, and especially if he does return. But personally, I don't even think the Young Bucks actually need the title at this point. I think it'd be far more interested of a storyline to have Jericho and the Inner Circle just kind of take over from there.
I agree.
I think Matt Jackson's working on some type of torn CL thing.
Yeah.
So at some point he's going to have to get that fixed. So again, this is as good a time as any.
I think so. I like the idea of Sammy Guevara coming back and costing them the titles, but I think it's going to be when they actually have the titles.
Yep. True.
That's fair.
All right, let's move on to let's do Hangman Adam Page versus Big Money Matt Hardy. The winner gets the first quarter of 2021, which is they're just making it so if Matt Hardy loses, it's a lot of money because Matt Hardy is Big Money Matt Hardy.
Right. Either whoever loses their first quarter earnings of 2021, which it's unique. I haven't heard anything like that before, and it plays off Matt Hardy's gimmick. You got to go Hangman. I don't know who else you pick. I feel like that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There would be storyline reasons that for Page that it would open up if he lost, but as Hunter and I have talked several thousand times off here, the future world champion Adam Page will win over Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys on here. I feel like for a while now there's been kind of a good push towards Adam Page anyways. And I feel like this is a perfect wheel spinning moment where all of a sudden that just makes it more of a higher avenue for him to have a run at the title. So
he beats wrestling legend Matt Hardy.
Yep.
And then moves on up. Maybe it's the TNT title. Maybe it's something,
Yep.
Depending on how the main event goes, someone might need a new opponent that he has history with. So. That's after. I'm sorry, Jones. Continue.
All right. Let's move into the women's title match. We got Hikaru Shida versus Ryo Mizunami.
Hikaru. Come on, Jones.
Hikaru. Sorry.
Hikaru.
Come on, Jones, you dummy. Hikaru Shida versus Ryo Mizunami. I probably said both of those names wrong. That's fine. Start with Diego here. Diego, give me your thoughts on who do you think wins this match?
Say the right name.
Hikaru Shida.
Yep.
Hikaru Shida. And that's it.
It's a good story for Mizunami, getting the title shot, but there just for me as Shida has the longest title reign in company history for the women's, I don't see her losing to an opponent like that.
And she's just so good at outlasting people too. I feel like Shida just has that much of a performance power over.
One thing
she's beating guys. Like we get it.
Yeah.
She's beating guys.
Yeah.
One thing about Mizunami that I had read that I had to YouTube and stuff. Her gimmick in Japan is very. It's. I don't want to say that it's silly, but even on Dynamite, there was little parts where she was like dancing in the corner and doing her thing, and that doesn't. Without that character establishment in the U.S. it might not, she's not going to be very over yet.
Yeah.
You know, because Japan's wrestling is much different than here in the US.
Yeah.
And but also too things like that all the time. So I'm saying Shida just because that's my girl. I got to pick her.
All right, let's move into the Face of the Revolution ladder match. We got Cody Rhodes versus Scorpio Sky versus Penta El Zero Miedo. I think I said that right. I don't know.
Penta El Zero Miedo? Something
Man,
like
what?
Pentagon.
Like
Penta El Zero Miedo.
There you go. Thank you.
There it is. That's the Lance Archer.
Latino
Lance Archer, Max Caster, and then what we expect to be Chris Bay.
Yes.
It'll probably be wrong. It'll probably be wrong. But give me your thoughts on who you think wins.
I think it's gonna be Penta. I think they've done seriously a disservice to the Lucha Bros. I know Phoenix has gotten his moments with Omega in the championship match and things. Penta's had some injury issues. But I think him getting a match with Darby would be fantastic. And of all the people that are in that match, I think he's the only one outside of maybe Caster and this. I mean, so half the matches already competed for the title. Cody doesn't need it. Archer doesn't need it. I think he's still got unfinished business with Kingston. Scorpio Sky would be a great pick. I mean, he had a match with Cody. It's got to be the random, whoever the surprise is, or I think Penta.
All right, so Chris Bay, got it.
Exactly.
Listen, if we hit on Chris Bay, just know that this podcast is going through the moon.
Yes.
I want this on the record. If Chris Bay comes out, I want every single podcast on the network to say Suplex Biddies called this.
Yep.
All right. Diego, what do you think?
So I have to agree a lot with what Andrew just said. Even though I personally would love to see Scorpio Sky winning this, just because he's had such a good storyline as of late, and he could use a good push as well. I have to go with Penta. Penta makes perfect sense right now. He could use having run as a singles, adding to the pick of everything else. Like it would be wonderful to see Penta versus what we've called Chris Bay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Penta. I think it'll be Penta. Like you said, Cody doesn't need it. Lance Archer doesn't need it. Scorpio Sky could use it. I think they got big things coming for him. Max Caster, it's kind of there to get the Acclaimed more time.
Yep.
And whoever the random is, Chris Bay, it'll be a good place to get their name out there. So I think it's gonna be Penta.
Much agreed.
All right. Two halves of best friends. Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor are taking on Miro and Kip Sabian. For those who don't know, Miro is also Rusev from WWE.
Rusev.
It is Sunday will be Miro Day. Miro and Kip Sabian beat Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy I think that's
I mean,
only because Miro's going to pin Chuck.
Oh yeah. You mean Charles?
Come on, Charles. Yes.
Only like three people will get that reference.
Yes, that's all that matters. I get it. That's all that matters. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, best friends are great. Cassidy will have a nice moment, but I think Miro pins Chuck because that's just makes sense.
Top row Munchkin.
I'm gonna go with Miro and Kip Sabian as well. I mean, honestly speaking, like since Miro arrived to AEW, he really hasn't lit it up as much as everybody expected. So this is a perfect opportunity to kind of take it from here and run with it. So I'm gonna go with Miro and Kip.
And it being a tag team match also could lead to a title match because if they're tag team, they could be still going up their rankings. And again, wins and losses matter. There you go.
Yep.
All right, let's go over what I think could potentially be the co-main event. Sting. Yes, Sting.
Oh, it's got to be.
That's Sting and Darby Allin are taking on Brian Cage and Ricky Starks of Team Taz in a street fight. I could see them doing it earlier and kind of getting it, but
Yeah.
Jesus, I take my headphone out. I think I think Darby and Sting get the win here. For me personally, looking at it, I don't see Sting taking a bunch of bumps, and I think, unfortunately, for Ricky Starks is going to be the one that takes the pin here.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know if I know it's a street fight, so is it going to be a pinfall or is it like a KO? I mean, it has to be a pinfall.
I think it's a pinfall.
Pinfall, yeah.
Probably falls count anywhere or something.
But also, too, you got to think of it. The way that Sting is, this is probably a good way to hide what he can and cannot do. Actually,
right.
I was literally just about to say that because
he's
Sting
whatever, however old he is.
Like Sting in the ring, there is so many weaknesses he can show. A street fight though, like that just allows him to kind of, if he's taking the hit, just run away as far as he can. So I'm actually gonna go with Darby Allin and Stinger in this one. I think Sting actually having a street fight here, he can actually be sneaky as well and create a pinfall.
I wonder if they'll make it a bit more cinematic, but who knows? Because again, it'll help hide Sting's. I mean, he's old. He shouldn't be doing anything crazy. I mean, last time they had a street fight, Matt Hardy fell like 15 feet and cracked his head on the pavement. So we don't want that again.
Yeah, we can't have that.
We can't have that. That was really bad.
Right.
So
do you got anything else to add on this, or do you want to move?
No, not just main event, and then we can move on.
Main event.
Kenny Omega. Yep, Kenny.
Exploding
Kenny Omega.
barbed wire death match for the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. You got the cleaner Kenny Omega versus John Moxley.
You gotta hit the John longer, dude. Just like
I know.
Justin Roberts.
My throat was I'll hit it on Sunday. Don't you worry.
Perfect.
But there's no way Kenny Omega loses the title. It's too early for them to shift the title back to Moxley.
Chicanery, or he actually gets a decisive victory.
Chicanery.
Whatever the hell this match is, by the way.
I think it's gonna be chicanery. I think the Good Brothers are gonna interrupt, and then the three of them are gonna stand, and then someone's gonna come out, and it's going to be a great way to end the show. And you and I are gonna have so many questions next week.
Yep. And depending on who the big free agent signing was, maybe they'll pop up and be like, "Hey, Kenny, I'm coming for you." I hope Kenny Omega. He's just my favorite wrestler on the planet. I think he's the best wrestler in the world as of right now. This match obviously is something that's rare. I don't necessarily know how they're going to pull it off. It'll be a lot of pyrotechnics, probably a lot of blood. And they'll do it as safely as possible.
Just like the Stadium Stampede match.
Yeah, exactly.
We had low expectations, and it was fantastic.
So good. So I mean, you got to go Omega. I don't know what Moxley's going to do next. Maybe he takes some time off. Maybe he feuds with someone that messes with him. But
isn't he due for a kid soon?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know how far Renee Young is, but I think it's probably got to be halfway or more through. Yeah,
right. That makes sense. All right.
What about you, Top Rope?
Oh yeah, I forgot. What do you think? Did you say Omega or did you say Moxley? Did you say anything? I can't remember what you say.
No, I'm gonna go with Kenny Omega, but I think this comes down.
You fucking got it.
Say it again. Say it again with confidence.
His name again. Kenny Omega.
Please don't ever again come that close to the camera. Yeah, I can see you scaling this happening. Holy crap!
Oh, you leave me alone, man.
He's a reptile. It's fine.
Look at that fish out of the water. Holy crap!
He hasn't gone in the sun. All right.
Yeah, let me go. Do you see my pasty skin? I get a sunburn just from standing outside for 2 seconds.
This light's giving me a sunburn.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Too much.
Hanuman's hiding his heritage on his head.
I will say, like, Kenny Omega wins this one, but I think it's gonna come down literally to a thing of quickness, because where it's a barbed wire like match and all that stuff, we all know who John Moxley can be, and he could be
like one of these.
Yep.
A knee.
It could be as lethal as ever. So I think if Kenny Omega uses his quickness in this match, by far, done and so. But if this is a John Moxley win, kind of AEW kind of loses its fast pace that it has created, because there's no need to do so with having John Moxley win in this. So
I mean, speaking of Moxley, and we can touch on it real quick before we jump into WWE. But the 41st Annual Wrestling Observer Awards went out just last week. Like, I think it was a little bit before we recorded, so we didn't get to touch on it.
Yeah,
but Moxley was the Wrestler of the Year. So, I mean, everyone knows how good he is. AEW swept the field there. I can't say I'm too surprised. WWE's had some highlights, but AEW's just delivered on so many different levels. They're new. Maybe that's the only reason they're new and they're not stale yet. But so far so good, and I hope they keep it up. Wrestler of the year. So the two things were it's Wrestler of the Year Jon Moxley and Most Outstanding Wrestler Kenny Omega. So it's like you get the two of them and some crazy stipulation. It's gonna be lovely.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
Mhm.
All right, let's dive into some WWE. Let's recap this week. Not gonna do anything. Just do the highlights. Start with Monday Night Raw.
The Almighty.
The Almighty Bobby Lashley, first time
So happy.
WWE champion. We were talking about this last week.
I'll be honest with you. That Monday night episode was by far the most annoyed I've ever felt in about 12 years.
They got you, dude.
I have never seen
that's how they get you.
I have never seen a more conniving, sneaky piece of shit as it is the Miz. I mean,
Miz got like a month worth of TV time just then because he was losing his
it was so pointless. Like,
dude, that's how they get you.
Go back to breastfeeding your kid, dude. He needs you. We don't need you in WWE.
He's cowardly. He didn't want to defend the title. He did his role very well. WWE, I'm just glad WWE didn't do something to ruin the main event, because putting it off every hour and everything, they have a knack of doing like non-finishes or DQs and stuff. And I'm glad they didn't do that because people would have been absolutely livid. So I think it was the right call. And it was the build up. You got your payoff, and Lashley just beat the piss out of him. Which I
mean, actually, I kind of have to thank Adam Pearce for once on this one, because he kind of pushed it to being like, this is your last straw, or I'm striping you off the fucking timeline.
Yep.
This is your last straw, dude.
Him and Shane were on the same page, which was good, I guess. Showing some continuity there.
Speaking of Adam Pearce, did you guys watch the tag team title?
Yep.
Yeah. That was something.
Oh my god. What a way to screw Braun Strowman out of anything else. I mean, number one, I actually fear for Shane because he was about to be freaking killed.
Yeah, I know.
Manually by this
beast. They're building to Braun versus Shane at Mania. They have to be.
They gotta be.
I just thought of a way that they can do Braun versus Shane at Mania.
How?
So for Fastlane, Bobby Lashley needs an opponent. Mm-hmm. You do Bobby Lashley versus Braun, because I think we're gonna get Drew. Listen, I think we're gonna get Drew versus Sheamus. Agreed. Yeah. But we're gonna get Drew versus Sheamus with the number one contender. Drew's gonna win again. It's gonna be another hell of a match, like we saw on Monday Night Raw.
God, that was brutal.
That was really good.
So I think we're gonna see the same thing at Fastlane, and then it's gonna set up Bobby versus Drew for the title, and then Strowman versus Shane, because Shane's gonna screw him over somehow.
Yeah. Hey.
Easy. Like literally, like Lashley's like shoulder comes up or whatever, and the ref said he counted to 3, and then Shane goes, no, his shoulder was up, restart the match, or something like that. You know what I mean?
You can do a bunch of stuff with that.
You know what I can see happening in Fastlane? I can see Braun versus Shane with Adam Pearce being the ref.
That could be the Mania match. I mean, I definitely think they're going to save that for WrestleMania. I mean, Braun is a top guy, whether people like it or not. I think he's fine. He's come a long way, but just to keep him in somewhat of the spotlight, get him a match with Shane. Shane will sell for him like crazy. I mean, Shane's underrated. He's had some great matches at WrestleMania in recent history. Yep. So, I mean, as you said, so it was to go back to it. Drew Sheamus, fantastic on Raw.
My God.
Couple duds as always. I mean, they had, I think it was this week, they had Naomi and Lana just kind of roll over for Baszler and Nia this week.
I felt so bad.
No, so they had Nia Jax beat Naomi in literally 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Charlotte beat Shayna Baszler.
Yep.
And then Charlotte announced that she wanted to challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's title.
Right, when she gets back
Mania before being interrupted by Baszler and Jax again. Yep.
Right.
Then we
had Naomi, man. I hope she joins the Hurt Business or something. But speaking of them, sorry, I didn't like what they did with them against Braun, because anytime Braun's in like a tag team type situation, he just dominates the other team. And they make the Hurt Business supposed to be this like last week they spent a whole 15-20 minutes on them just beating down Lucha House Party, and this week you just have Braun tossing them around like rag dolls. So it's like pick a lane.
Counterproductive.
I mean, I actually enjoyed the humor there, because Just seeing Braun picking up Cedric Alexander, just tossing him like nothing was hilarious.
Go at him.
One thing that I'll touch upon for Raw, and this was the last time I talked about Raw from this week. Riddle losing to Mustafa Ali via pinfall after his match. It's going to set up a little feud with them. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to fight at Fastlane. And then they're going to be a Mania one night. And Retribution is going to like turn on Mustafa Ali. And then it's just going to be over.
Dude, that bump at the end of that match was. I'm glad Riddle's not.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It looked cool in the end, but then you think about it, like, that's definitely not how that was supposed to go.
Yeah.
But,
so,
hey.
That personally, I see that. And then I see Damian Priest and Elias fighting at Fastlane as well. With Miz or Morrison fucking over Priest, and then setting up their Priest Bad Bunny tag team match at WrestleMania versus Miz and Morrison.
That's got to happen, you know.
But that's that's my take on Raw. Anybody got final thoughts on Raw?
I mean, the promotion and everything. Biggest thing, Bobby Lashley, new world champion. Let's hope he gets a nice run out of it. He deserves it. He's done great, and I look forward to seeing what they do with it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that, because even when Lashley came back on, like, just his way that he came back on, like, obviously he looked healthy as ever and he looked dominant as ever, but his skills weren't all of that there. It was thanks to MVP taking him under his wing to all of a sudden kind of bringing that mindset back of like, dude, you're a dominant human figure. Like, you should be dominating. And so
MVP, the real MVP of Raw the last year, man, making the Hurt Business.
Well, think of it like this. MVP last year, Bobby Lashley last year was romance with Lana at this time. Shelton Benjamin was jobbing, and Cedric Alexander was on 205 Live. Now they're all champions.
Yep. So MVP really being the MVP.
Yeah.
Good way to go about it. All right, let's move over to the NXT real quick. What a show! I
tried switching back and forth between that and AEW, but that's just your realm.
They didn't get enough credit, I think. So Dynamite averaged 934,000.
Yep.
NXT got 692,000. NXT's card, though, it was just so they start off with Birch and Oney versus Ciampa and Thatcher. Obviously, Birch only won, but after the match, Imperium came out without Walter. So waiting for potential Walter to come back to dominate the black and gold would be pretty ideal.
For Walter versus Finn, dude. I thought that's what they were going to do last year to get the title off of him.
Maybe they'll do it this year, and we just don't know about it yet.
Yeah.
Because next week on NXT, the main event is Adam Cole versus Finn Balor. So now thinking about it, if Walter were to come out after the match instead of Finn versus Walter, and then at Mania potentially Cole versus O'Reilly if he's healthy.
The other one was the tag match was Wednesday too, right? The titles.
Yes, Nair and Baszler versus Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Baszler made Dakota Kai tap out in the clutch that she has.
Yeah, Kakina clutch or whatever she calls it. No, that's Joe. I forget what she calls it. Karafuda clutch or something like that.
Yeah, but it was weird. It was weird. It was a funky finish because Kai wasn't the legal person in the match.
Right.
But Pierce had an official rundown and call a match because there was nobody in there.
Yeah.
So I think obviously we saw the segment with Regal having a big announcement next week. Obviously, it probably has something to do with them getting their own sort of set of tag team titles because their women are just unbelievable.
Yep.
And then the main event, which was Roderick Strong versus Finn Balor. Boy, was that very good.
I heard
that was
good things.
It was very, very good. Both of them took some big blows, and the way that Strong, it was reversal after reversal, and then Balor caught him with the coup de grace, and it was great.
Well, it's also making Roderick Strong a formidable opponent when people think, oh, Cole and O'Reilly are the big names. Look what Roderick Strong just did. Roderick
Strong was dominating NXT before he joined. The Undisputed Era. But for me personally, I mean, dude, it was just a great show. I think kind of the loser. We didn't get to see Breezango versus Everrise thanks to Legado del Fantasma because they wanted Escobar to come out and basically talk about last week and all that stuff. But I mean, other than that, I just thought it was a great show overall.
Lots of highs, few lows. That's a good product. 2 hours.
We saw what's his face? We saw LA Knight debut. It looked like him and Bronson Reed were having the choice of words with each other. For
he's gonna be big,
Cameron Grimes. Well, Bronson Reed's a big guy. Vince likes big guys, so
Yeah.
just wait till he's on the main roster.
I mean,
Well,
I'll talk about Drake. What was LA Knight?
LA Knight.
Yeah, Eli Drake, right?
Yeah, Eli Drake,
Totally.
baby.
I think he's gonna be great, dude. He's fantastic on the mic. Like even if his
I hope
wrestling's
so.
not that great, his
I hope so.
almost like MJF.
I hope so. Yeah.
It's fire and then can hold his own. So
All right. Do you get any thoughts on NXT from this past week?
No. I mean, you cover it all. You did.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. It was just one of those things where I'm looking. I'm like, okay, this.
Jones
this.
loves NXT. Right?
No. NXT was awesome. I'm personally.
Jones is frozen. There you go.
There you go.
All right,
I'm personally more of a Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez fan.
I wish they won, but
it is Nia Jax. She's kind of, in my opinion, she's kind of wearing off a little bit on Raw. So I wouldn't be surprised if she makes the switch over to NXT.
It's a lot to watch every week, man.
I hope not.
This is a job, you know.
Yeah.
It is.
Now that we're doing this and like we have to talk about it like on a call. Yeah. No, it's not ideal.
Yeah. No, not ideal.
All right. Last
Touch
thing
on SmackDown real quick, and we'll wrap it up.
Last thing we're touching on this week was SmackDown, which I thought was chef's kiss last night.
Dude, that was
They did
beautiful.
a very good job.
That was beautiful.
The only thing about SmackDown that I didn't like was the fact that they literally did 2 single matches with Montez Ford taking on King Corbin and then Angelo Dawkins taking on Sami Zayn.
Classic Hunterman GM mode booking.
It was just, for me, it's
in a way it was kind of
for whatever reason they want to do Corbin versus Zayn, which makes no sense because of how both of them are heels. They just don't like each other. So literally having them just kind of be like side by side, it just doesn't look great.
I will argue that though. And it makes perfect sense to have those two go against each other. Think of it as fan base. Who do you despise more between Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn?
Baron Corbin.
Easily.
Exactly.
I love Sami Zayn.
Exactly. So like fan base wise, it makes sense.
It could be leading to a potential turn for Zayn, you know.
Yeah. Who knows? So many different angles.
For the product wise, I agree with you. It doesn't really make sense why would you have those two? Because they're such heels all the time. But fan base wise, I'm all for it. I really am.
I'm just curious of what they're doing with Reginald. I'm telling you, man, I'm getting the James Ellsworth vibes from him. He's so much better than James Ellsworth. He deserves better. They need to stop.
He's now getting recruited by Nia and Baszler, right? Ooh, he's kind of cute.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she's not wrong. You know, whatever.
But we had Belair beat Baszler as well. So Baszler takes 2 losses this week. Ugh. She fights in 3 matches this week. People forget about that.
Yep.
Got to give her credit. Also, we saw Murphy back on TV. Looks like
there's my low point for the week. Oh,
it looks like he's going back with potentially Seth Rollins, but Cesaro and Seth Rollins at Fastlane is going to be unreal. I can't wait for it. Mm-hmm. This feud that they're going to have up until Mania, it's going to be a great feud for them.
Yeah.
And then obviously the high of the week, we have our main event for Fastlane. Daniel Bryan beat Jey Uso in the steel cage match, getting himself a one-on-one title opportunity with Roman at Fastlane. This, to me, it's been said before by some of the big wrestling writers. This has WrestleMania vibes, and it's not a WrestleMania. Yep. These two can put on a hell of a match, and I think it's going to make Fastlane much more watchable because you'll have people sit through just to see Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a great call by SmackDown. I think we all had an idea that was going to happen. But personally, I just thought SmackDown was just a great show overall. Yeah. I mean, there were a couple hiccups. There always are. But
they did the Mysterios and the Alpha Academy again. Cool. At least they got some under. There's some tag
the thing is, Dominic picked up the win there. Dominic beat Chad Gable, which is potentially setting them up for a tag title match at Fastlane. A tag match at Fastlane.
I just like that it's tag team division development because they don't do that enough. And I know Brian had a very good promo from what I've been told before. The
opening promo was very good. Yep.
And then here's to the hope that I don't know if we've mentioned this on air or not, but the potential for Edge and Christian versus
we did
the Usos. It keeps coming.
If Jimmy's healthy, it's gonna happen. There's no way. But if not, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if we get Edge versus Jey Uso at Fastlane as well.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if Jimmy's not back, that's the perfect way to do it.
Yep.
I mean, that's I hope they get the Edge and Christian, man. Oh, Jay
Just
hinted
once.
at it. Jay talked about it. He said he's going to be back sooner than you think. So
5-second pose.
keep teasing me. Dare you?
All right. Mr. Top Rope Munchkin, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I'm just, like I said, I'm freaking excited to see the SmackDown storyline continue to develop. Like, this is such a good product. It's been a while too since
SmackDown is indeed the A show of the WWE right now.
Much agreed.
I gotta say, it's been a while since SmackDown has had a really, really good product like this. So seeing SmackDown,
I'd say
carrying the WWE legacy ahead is actually phenomenal. Rather than the stereotypical Raw is always the A brain.
Yeah.
Of
I mean,
WWE.
It shouldn't be. It's just 3 hours. Can't do it. Too much.
Yeah.
I will watch it because it's now my job, and I have anyway. But knock it off.
Yeah.
2 hours, 2.5 max. Listen up.
Personally, I think SmackDown is the top show for the first time since when they were the top show back in like 2006 to like 2008.
There was that time when they redid the brand split when they peaked real good with like John Cena and everybody. That was prime SmackDown. Like, I think I agree with Diego. It hasn't been this good since that original post SmackDown split. Yep. So it's very nice to see that they're finally
and actually a fun fact to point out too, the last time a brand was producing this really good of material was Raw, when they also had Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in it as well.
And
not coincidental that SmackDown has Raw and Seth Rollins,
big money boys,
creating big titles. So
agreed. Really quick, the last thing to touch upon is there is a report that NXT is potentially switching from Wednesdays to Tuesdays.
Yep.
Apparently, it is due because NBC Sports Network is going down, which means the NHL is looking for partnerships, and USA is the prime partnership that they're looking at right now. So as of right now, looks the first NXT episode after WrestleMania will be on Tuesday, April 13th.
So
I think it's a smart move.
Shades of 2010 or so, when we used to have Raw Monday nights and then SmackDown on Tuesday nights, but this time NXT on Tuesday nights instead.
Yeah. Hey, if you play the cards right, that's depending on what AEW does with their next show. You're gonna have content every night. So
listen,
hey, a wrestling fan, that's great.
Won't be surprised if it's on Thursday night.
I mean, technically NXT UK is on Thursday, so you do already. So
yeah.
But we just don't touch upon it because it's not.
I honestly don't follow it.
It's not something we get around.
It's not on television.
Yeah,
it's not my cup of tea. All pun intended.
It's not on. I'll watch matches and stuff, but it's not on network television, which I feel like is the most important. I get it because England, crumpets, yes.
Yep. All right. So to touch upon, make sure that you're following the socials at Suplex Biddies on Twitter for us. For Top Rope Munchkin, it's at Diego_the DJ, correct?
Yes, sir.
For Biddy Boy, it's at Andrew Honeybuns. If you don't know how to spell Honeybuns, get out from underneath that rock and figure it out. And for mine, the Solution Suplex Machine, it is at CJonesu1212. We're all doing much more content coming soon. Looking forward to seeing you guys for episode 3.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.